it was very sudden but expected. She was 84 years old and had been suffering with, some heart problems, some blood pressure problems. She's been having strokes and heart attacks, and so, she's been in pretty bad health the last 5 years or so, it was very anticipated. So I'm not as I would maybe describe it, I'm not as heavily grieving as heavy as I could be. But still, grief is a spectrum. We all deal with it differently. I just wanted to get on here and talk about something that's kind of heavy. I know that I've talked to you guys about my depression before, and that's a pretty heavy topic, and I think we can all agree that death is a pretty heavy topic, right? Well, for me, I've been thinking about death for quite a while in my life. At the ripe age of 3 years old, going on 4, my grandfather passed away. And so I've been thinking about him being dead for many, many years. And in doing that, I believe it has really, truly helped me to see death as a complete different concept than a lot of people. I think death is very beautiful, very powerful. That sound in the background is an Air Force base. If you grew up near an Air Force base, you are used to this sound. That is an F-22 getting ready to take off and do their flight. So it's quite a soothing rumble for me. You can feel it. They fly right over this house. But yeah, that was very nostalgic for me. That's the first time I've heard it since being in my hometown. I just got here last night. But that's why my background is a lot different. This is the backyard that I grew up in. This is, a very, very wonderful thing to be doing an ASMR in this backyard right now. But, like I said, grief has been hitting me a little bit differently than it usually would be. It's been more like a way of just kind of saying goodbye to a lot of people in my life, and that's kind of something that I've been used to. What is this? I don't know what this is. It's just in the garden right behind you. I like the texture of it. It's nice. But grief is heavy. The day that I found out, me and my brother drove down to the hospital realize, she had already passed before we left our home, but hey, Kevin, she had already left. She'd already passed away before we got there, but we still got to see her and say goodbye. Kevin, how did you not get it? It's right next to you. Good job. Oh, he doesn't like it. But yeah, we got down there and everybody was in the room, and we just got to say goodbye. We hung out there, and then we went back to my grandpa's house. And it really hit me whenever I went into her bathroom. She was always very particular about her hair, and oh my goodness, she was very particular about how she looked when she left the house. So when I went into her bathroom, I saw her hairbrushes, and I just was destroyed seeing her hairbrushes. And I cried while I peed, thus dehydrating me very, very sincerely and significantly. It was quite an experience. But, grief hits you at the weirdest times. One thing I never noticed that I would think about was all of the things that I didn't know about my grandma. Like what her favorite color was, what her favorite song was, who her favorite artist was, I know who her best friend was, but it makes you start thinking about those types of questions that you've never really asked somebody or thought of until they're gone and you can't ask them those questions anymore. That's something that I've been thinking about. I don't feel any regret towards the relationship that me and her had. I don't feel very much regret towards how much time I spent with her. I spent a very significant amount of time with her growing up. I moved away. I was about, there's deer over there. Oh, he's such a cute little deer. But yeah, I spent a lot of time on their farm. I spent a lot of time on their... that deer is so gorgeous. I really hope Kevin doesn't start barking at it. City deer are so cute. But yeah, I've had a very good experience with grieving so far. This is the first significant death that has occurred in my adulthood. I did have an ex-boyfriend pass away from overdose, but I was not with him when that happened. I had broken up with him about a year before that happened, for obvious reasons. And yeah, that one was a little bit more of like he already kind of felt dead to me, but that's a kind of a morbid thing to say. Some people might think I'm kind of cynical for that, but you would have had to be there to understand the situation. But yeah, I was definitely very heartbroken by the thought of him never getting better. That was more of the sadness that I felt from that, was he was so broken, and I discovered that I couldn't, help him, so I didn't help him, other people and just start trying to help yourself. That's exactly what I did. And so that's why that death was kind of a little bit different for me. I didn't really feel like I had to grieve for him because I already had, in a way. But this, my grandmother, that was more of a, I know I'm gonna miss her. She's the person that taught me how to love baking. She taught me how to love my home. She taught me how to love the land. Her and my grandfather lived on a very, very beautiful sheep ranch, but they did not herd the sheep for the reason of butchering them. They sold their wool and used it as grazing purposes for their pasture. But they lived on a lot of property. My grandfather was the ranch hand, and my grandmother just kept the house, and she worked at a grocery store. Just packing groceries. She was a clerk. She always had very simple, very hardworking, very honorable jobs. She was always a waiter. She always waited on people. She was a very good hostess and very good banqueter. She made these amazing, amazing feasts and amazing dinners, and that's something that I will always admire her for. But you see, there's these little things about life that we don't think about until they're gone, but it's different for a lot of people. I've been expecting her to pass away. They are grandparents. We expect them to pass away before us. So that's very, very understandable of why I'm not super grieveful. I'm not very aggressively grieving. The lighting on this got very dark because the sun is moving behind me. But I hope this kind of helped you to process a little bit of your grief. It's a tricky thing. Growing up and learning that we're not immortal. I remember thinking that we lived for hundreds of years, comparatively in my sense of what time was. I thought that people that were my grandparents' age had lived since, the Revolutionary War, they were there during the Roaring 20s, they were there through all of it in my mind, but growing up and understanding the little blip of time that we are is that itself is grief.